And we are back once again to Slime Isekai Memories. Alright, today we are doing That Time I Found Pac-Man in Another World. So yeah, this is one of the events I haven't done, or I did do in the past, but I never posted the video. Because at the time I got really busy since a lot of April 1st content came out. And so, yeah, I really couldn't post it because I lost track of time. And then eventually it became too old, I got too embarrassed and didn't want to post it. So I still have it, and I'm gonna post it unlisted under this video. But yeah, I'm gonna do this after like 2 years. This is their first April Fool's event, which was a pretty cool collaboration at the time. It's not until years later until I'm able to actually figure out that Bandai Namco is the one publishing the game when I'm like searching up previews for the content of this game. But alright, let's get into this. Ramorous' Treasure Vault. This happened a little while after Beretta was completed. By the way, Rimuru, there's something I want to show you. Her announcement seemed spontaneous, but no, I knew better. Her eyes said she was plotting something. She must have been waiting for the moment Beretta was ready. So I assumed that she had a favor to ask of me. Of course, she made sure to only bring this up after collecting Beretta, her reward. I had to hand it to her. She knew how to play her cards. Anyhow, I decided to listen to what she had to say. Yeah, so what is it you want to show me? My question was met with a wide smile that stretched from ear to ear. The thing is, I want to show you my appreciation somehow, and that's when it hit me that I might as well show you my treasure. Oh-ho? The word treasure certainly piqued my interest, but she wasn't fooling me. A man of my stature knows to make vigilance a habit. What does that mean? Like, he's just a guy in general that watches out for women to make sure they're not, I guess, exploiting him? Because Rimuru was never a player in the normal world. So that's kind of weird. Or is it because he's a king slash lord? That's why he's vigilance for anything suspicious. But then again, I suppose a little peek wouldn't hurt. Warning. It is estimated that doing so grossly contradicts the premise of vigilance. Oh, zip it! I don't need that kind of prediction from you. You can just keep quiet until I call for you. Damn. I forgot how mean they used to be to each other when she was still Great Sage, or early on in the relationship. Understood. The silence that follows suggested an implicit retort, probably along the lines of, well, that won't take long. Of course, I wasn't going to let a little heckling bother me. With Great Sage, aka my nagging mother-in-law, quiet, I tried to give Ramorous my reply. That's when the kids suddenly barged in. Did you say treasure? We want to see too! Show us! Show us! I want to see Ramorous' collection too! Hey! You better show me too! I want to see too! Teacher! Could you please show us as well? The kids have been playing with Ranga and Beretta, but apparently they'd return. In fact, it seems that this was what Ramorous had been waiting for. So I wonder, are we gonna get Beretta and Ranga in this event? It has been like 2 years since I did this, so I hardly remember at all. She would prove my suspicion. Of course you can all come with us. It'll be great. And she casually gave them the okay. Aha! She knew how the kids would react, so she invited them to make sure I couldn't get out of this. Well, I guess it just wasn't for show that she was called a demon lord. She was even more cunning than I thought. I had a bit of a bad feeling, but then again, I planned to take her offer in the first place. No matter what she had up her sleeve, I didn't see a problem with just taking a look. Well, since you kids want in on this, why not? I'll tag along too. So, I accepted Ramorous' invitation to browse her treasures. If she thought she could pull a quick one on me, I want to see her try. It's so weird because this is so early in their relationship. Like, they barely met each other within what? The few hours? Or maybe this is after a few days. Because I think it took them a while to put all the spirits in the kids. And Rimuru trusts Ramorous enough that she doesn't try and kill them. Like, what is pulling a fast one? Is it like just pranking someone this early on in their relationship? Or is it like doing something sinister? There was once a time when I thought I was above deceit. Hey, are you serious? Some of this stuff really is rare. The room Ramorous referred to as her treasury was paradise for me. Remnants of scrap vintage automobiles and chipped marbles were just the tip of the iceberg. I found an industrialized machine, the purpose of which eluded me, the tip of a crane, a worn-out doll, and even an empty suitcase. On the larger end of the scale, she even had a cruise ship and planes on display. Like, damn, everything just teleporting to her. Like, how does that even happen? Among these, I saw the old, familiar A6M Zero fighter jet, being nearly fully intact. I was surely looking at envy of any hardcore fan. It was a mixed bag, but there were definitely some pieces there with substantial value. How come you have these things on display in a place this? Beats me. They occasionally find their way here, so I have no choice but to store them. For instance, that ship is unscathed. I mean, it looks brand new. But wasn't there a crew? Oh, there was. Startled by her offhand response, I panicked and pressed her on it. Hold on a second. What happened to them then? The ship belonged to them, didn't it? Okay, I remember this happening in a few other events before, where the audio is glitched. It's so weird that they never come back and like update these so the audio always works. They forget to, I guess, update or don't want to check back on old events. They're probably like, who's watching these old events? Yeah, I kind of wish they would fix this, but I mean, it's a small thing. I questioned Ramorous under the assumption that she was accountable for some grand larceny, but it turned out that I jumped the gun. Tis, tis, tis. Did you forget this ship was landlocked upon its arrival? I mean, that still doesn't absolve her of possibly the grand larceny charges. Because who knows, maybe she's the one summoning these things. Probably not, but it's a possibility. Being a demon lord, I would imagine she has the resources and power to do something like that. Being stuck with no other option, the crew voluntarily offered the ship up to yours truly. Ramrus said that with a triumphant expression on her face. While this irked me, her story made sense after she filled me in on the details. The Bermuda Triangle was a cursed maritime region that was a well-known legend even in the world I lived in prior to my reincarnation. Though there was no way to be certain that the missing ships and vessels had found their way here, it didn't seem like a far-fetched theory. From what I heard is like, all the evidence points to every ship sinking in the Bermuda Triangle, but I guess that is a possibility, that there was a portal or summoning or something that happened to these ships, that they're just whisked away into another world. But I don't think any ship can go into that area without sinking, because I'm pretty sure that's why we don't have any like recovery vessels head into there, because they would probably sink too. It's basically a wormhole of just sucking in ships to be destroyed, or I guess teleported away. So yeah, we can't even retrieve the ships that are stuck down there. Or who knows, maybe possibly some monsters were teleported to that world and that's why ships keep sinking. In fact, I guess it meant that Ramrus had actually been a savior to the victims in their time of need. Despite the language barrier, she claimed to have offered her aid to the castaways, teaching them how to survive in their new world. Sure enough, other worlds can be found throughout this world, but they only acquire skills if they're summoned, so it turns out that there are a fair share of skillless citizens here. I mean, those are the people I would think Rimuru would want to save the most, considering those guys are ill-equipped for anything in this world. Like, they don't have skills. Ramrus taught them quite a bit about this world, but they would still have a lot of trouble dealing with the magical beast and anything else that could possibly stand in their way, especially other adventurers with skills. Yeah, it's just like a random portal that appears out of nowhere and that takes people and objects to the slime world. I discovered Ramrus had been teaching them the local language, among other things. I felt a newfound respect for her. Well, sure, it's my nature to be kind, you know. As nice as I am, though, I did ship some of the impudent ones off to less desirable locations, like remote boonies and small Arctic countries. So wait, did she just send them to their deaths? I don't understand. Seeing Ramrus tittering impishly as she said this, I thought to myself, this girl definitely doesn't lose sleep over guilt. But yeah, I really wonder, are they dead because of that? Or does that mean that she leaves them at least somewhat bearable place? So it means like a small Arctic country. Does that mean she left them in a town, but in an Arctic country? If I remember Ramrus's most important power or most relevant power, I'm pretty sure she has the power to open gates anywhere to her maze. Wherever the far Arctic country is, she can basically teleport there by opening an entrance. I'm pretty sure that's how her power works, because that's how it was in the Overlord event too, where it's like she kept putting entrances all over the world and sending out monsters. But yeah, if she just shipped these guys out to like Antarctica type country with no villages around, and that person died, I don't know if like he means that no guilt for that or no guilt for the people suffering because they're in that country now, even though they will probably survive if they were put by a village. To be sure, Ramrus was a demon lord, not the goddess of compassion. She had her kind side, but mischief was more of her taste. I should probably just be glad that those people who rubbed her the wrong way still had their heads attached to their torsos. But also, what does impetus mean? Like, how bad did they wrong her? Were they just disrespectful? Did they do something generally evil to her? You know, did they try and betray her? It's kind of left vague on how much they deserved, you know, being trapped somewhere they didn't want to be. After all, depending on the situation, I could see myself doing the same. What were they thinking, biting the hand that fed them? I wonder if this is foreshadowing for the Falmoth, considering Tempest was being super nice and comforting to everyone that came to Tempest, and Falmoth used that niceness and kindness for a sneak attack to try and destroy Tempest. And so I feel like that's him basically referring to future events, being like, yeah, because they did that to me and my people, I basically murdered their army. There was a good chance that it would boomerang back at me if I complained now, so I wisely held my tongue. Anyhow, let me get back on track. Long story short, Ramrus had come by the collection displayed before me on an account of these castaways. And among the mountain of treasures, there was one particular item that really captured my interest. It was a retro-looking arcade machine with the word Pac-Man written in a large font across the top. Whoa! This really takes me back! I used to play this on the arcade when I was a kid! Overwhelmed by nostalgia, I suddenly found myself smiling fondly. Back when I was still in elementary school, when my family and I were vacationing at a hot spring, they had this game at the arcade. I competed with my older brother to see who could get the higher score, but needless to say, I came out on top. Negative. A falsification of memory has been recognized. That's funny. So he's rewriting memories of him winning, so it was actually his older brother. Yeah, I would imagine the older brother probably knows how to play the game better than Rimuru. Okay, this is super interesting. I don't know if this was ever said in the anime, manga, or in the light novels, but we're learning quite a bit about his family right now. So originally, I kind of thought Rimuru may have been an orphan by how much he doesn't talk about his family. Like, I thought they probably disappeared pretty early in his life by death or by abandoning him. And plus, to learn that he has an older brother? Man, there's a lot about his life that I want to know, but they kind of keep him a blank slate. So I guess he's more relatable as a protagonist to the audience. Because he has his own personality and stuff, but for the most part, he's just knowledgeable on most, like, real-world things. Like, that's how they kind of keep him for our sake. But yeah, I really do want to learn Rimuru's backstory and, like, family and all that. Shut up! Sheesh, what am I gonna do with the Great Sage? How could you spy on a person's beautiful memories without permission? Ahem, I didn't mean to raise my voice there, but I would respectfully like to ask you to keep your traps shut until absolutely necessity. Mr. Rimuru, what is that? Chloe had come upon hearing my reaction, and she was eyeing the Pac-Man machine curiously. Just when I was about to answer, Kenya and the other kids also flocked over. Bleh! That game looks ancient. Is it even any fun? Heh, I guess Kenya wouldn't know about the profound depth and unparalleled entertainment value that Pac-Man offers. Now, what you all see here is a game called Pac-Man. Pac-Man? I feel like I've heard of it, but the one I know could be played on the cell phone. I still wonder the age of these kids. Like, how early were they taken from their world? Like, I would guess most of them are 8 or 10. I really have to look that up on a wiki. I'm sure it's somewhere out there on the wiki on how old these kids are. They were pooled late enough that they know what a cell phone is, they know what video games are, they know what Chocolate Valentine and all of that stuff is, but yet they don't know what Pac-Man is. Like, I understand Pac-Man is kind of old, but I feel like Pac-Man is kind of an icon. I also wonder, why do these kids not care about their parents? Like, if they know about most of this other stuff, I would imagine they at least had a bond to their parents and still want to see them. Yeah, that's the one. But this one is old. In other words, it has history. I remember there was another portable console called Game Watch 2. My brother and I would often fight over who got to play. The other times we'd read manga while we waited our turn. Now that I think about it, I used to have these wishful dreams. I fantasize about these giant gaming consoles being miniaturized down to the size of a wristwatch, so they'd be easier to play. Back in those days, every family only had one landline for phone calls. The idea of a cell phone was something out of a dream, if even that. I wanted it to be a wristwatch because they were so portable, but nowadays, it's almost standard for everyone to own their own console. It's been 20 years since then, but the world has become even more convenient than I ever imagined it to be. Every person has their own cell phone, so they can easily call anyone anytime they like, and that's to say nothing of all the convenient features. The watch function is a given, but most include notepads, calculators, games, and a recorder. They can also be used as flashlights when it's pitch dark and wallets while shopping. This event is so weird because I thought we would have gotten into the Pac-Man stuff already, but it's taking them so long to get to that part. It's giving us like a history, I guess, of Pac-Man a little bit, and maybe a look back through technology and being like how far we have come, and showing like that's why we're going back into this old Pac-Man machine. Now that I think about it, they have all the features that I ever wanted as a kid, plus a bunch of extras I don't even know how to use. I was getting to the point where I was starting to feel concerned about not being able to keep up with the times. Damn, Rimuru was starting to feel old by the end of his life. Like, what was he in? His 30s? Or was he late 20s? Like somewhere, and he was already feeling old. Well, now I guess I don't have to worry about that anymore. After all, I was reincarnated in this world after I was stabbed to death. My job right now is to develop the country so people are free to do creative work. Once people are living affluentially, entertainment will follow. It's likely that games are going to be invented eventually, so I just had to look forward to it for now. Thus, after reaffirming my long-term goals, I decided to answer the children. As Kenya said, it's very possible that it was playable on a cell phone. After all, this Pac-Man was so popular that after it was ported to household consoles, it even made it to small portable gaming systems. And then he should say, Then it was ported over to small cell phones or cellular devices, something like that. Huh? So did you battle against people online? Like, see, how does this kid know about all this? Like, it has to be pretty late when he was taken away, that he was already playing video games online. You fool! We competed for high score, but it couldn't even connect to the internet, let alone battle anyone. Maybe I can be wrong about this, but I feel like I've seen some Pac-Man games where you could play 2 players. Like, maybe that was a later version, or maybe that was like Miss Pac-Man or something like that, where they added multiplayer. But I could have sworn it's like you could have been 2 different Pac-Mans trying to compete and try and get a higher score than the other Pac-Man. Feel like that was the game I saw, but then again, I could be wrong. I have seen like super new versions of Pac-Man where it's like you could play 4 players on a like kind of table screen thing. I've seen that. And plus, I think there's like Pac-Man Ultra or something. I've seen one Pac-Man game. I think it's called Pac-Man Championship Edition or something like that, where it's super colorful and it has a massive screen in the arcade. I'm pretty sure it's also a console game as well you can play, but I've only ever seen the arcade one because that is like just amazing with the presentation of it. This wasn't the kind of game that could be connected to the internet. In fact, the concept of the internet didn't even exist then. I nearly slipped back into a nostalgic reverie, but I resisted the urge. At that very moment, Alice chimed in with a comment that caught me by surprise. Then, doesn't that mean you can play it here too? What? Play it here? No. Pac-Man may not need an online connection, but there's no electricity here. Wait a second. There are skills and magic that produce electricity, so maybe I can... That's right, I have no doubt my trusty partner, the great sage, will grant my wish for me. Aw, she's still mad. Hey, don't be sour and pretend not to hear me. I won't tell you to be quiet anymore. Please, I'm really counting on you. Understood. You should be able to supply a stable electric current through the use of your skills. They can also be used to repair the machine. Fantastic! Leave it to the great sage, huh? Like, he really shouldn't be thanking her. Like, unless she's the one doing this. Like, she just told him, you can use your skills to repair and play the machine. Like, isn't that something he figured out on his own? So, without further ado, I use Predator on the Pac-Man console. I removed the corrosion from the circuit board, then repaired the other degraded components. In no time at all, it was practically restored to mint condition. This was a familiar sight by now, so it didn't take anyone by surprise. My audience naturally formed a ring and looked on with rapt anticipation. Once I was ready, I made my announcement to the captivated assembly. Hehehe, you were right on the money, Alice. Your idea was a success. Now we can play Pac-Man here. Alright, man, I don't remember this picture at all. Yeah, it's a pretty nice picture. Yeah, I do not remember that Pac-Man design on any of the machines I've ever played. So I don't know if that's original for this game, or if that's the very first original art they had for Pac-Man machines. But that's kind of interesting. Yeah, I kind of like the art on it. It's pretty cute. Pac-Man doing all these running and eating cookies or whatever. He's trying to eat the blue orbs. The kids in the background all cheering Rimuru as he's playing, or that he got the machine restored. And Rimuru pumping up his arm being like, yeah, we got it. And Ramorous being curious. Although my only complaint is, why isn't it all the kids in the background? Like, why is it only Alice and Kenya? Having said that, I pulled out the arcade machine, now aglow with a radiant aura. Incidentally, it was Ramorous who was the most excited. I knew it! I knew you were the right person for the job. I was sure you'd be able to pick out the real treasure from the pile for me. The words came racing out. Her eyes were aglitter and glued to the Pac-Man arcade machine. She might not have known what it was, but she seemed to be able to instinctively tell that there was fun to be had. I see. So this is what Ramorous was after, I thought to myself. She brought me here so I could sniff out the fun-looking toys in her treasure pile for her. I realized she had me dancing in the palm of her hand, but had to give her credit. In fact, it would have been rude to spoil such a meticulous trap. Sigh. Did I not warn you to exercise caution? I thought I heard a voice, but I figured it was my imagination. Well, if you want to talk about true value, then I'm sure the Zero Fighter jet over there is worth a great deal more. Yeah, imagine bringing modern technology into the slime world. Now, I'm not entirely sure if Milim or Guy or any of the top level demon lords fly a lot faster than the jet, but that would give a lot of people the ability to fly in this world. Like the standard adventurers that really can't do it. I'm trying to see, it's like, what is the strength level you need before you can fly? Rimuru's able to fly, but that's because of like creatures he's eaten to gain their skills to fly. Like, I don't remember which creature exactly it was, but I think it was like a bat creature he ate to gain the wings. While someone like Milim and Guy probably have like a much more superior version of flying that can fly the same as the jet. While Rimuru, I'm not entirely sure how fast he can fly. That said, given our current state of affairs, one could say toys and entertainment were arguably more important to us. To be sure, I do believe that this is a matter of personal taste, and while others may disagree, I stood before Pac-Man with faith in my conviction. Boys and girls, let me show you how it's done. Upon making this declaration, I used Body Double to create a tiny slime and stabbed the prongs of the machine power cable into it. Okay, so that is interesting. He makes a tiny version of himself and then stabs it on the prongs of the power supply. So I'm guessing he's using it like a battery, because I'm guessing he's having his miniature self use electricity powers to just blast the machine. But that's why it's super small, so it's not overloading the machine with power. The tiny slime acted as a power supply, and Pac-Man flicked to life. The children were just as jubilant as I was. They watched over my every move with excited sparkle in their eyes. They're usually so cheeky, but they can be really cute and childlike at times like this, can't they? In any case, I'm feeling really nostalgic right now. By the way, what were the rules again? I don't know what he means by rules. Because, I mean, this is a video game. The rules are automatic, and that you have to follow them. There's no way to break the rules in a video game. Unless he's talking about the rules of how you pass it on to the next person. Like, I remember seeing in some old movies or something, where it's like, if someone puts their coin on the machine while you're using it, that means they got next. Or it's like, if you die a certain number of times, it's like, then you pass it on or something like that. I'm guessing those are the rules he's trying to think of. It had been so long since I last played that I could hardly remember anything. This is not good. I just told them I was going to show them how it's done. If you allow me then. Huh? I hadn't ordered it, but Great Sage switched into auto battle mode. Thus began the one-man exhibition of the master, Great Sage. Man, she's good. Is it just me, or are we constantly taking the optimal route with no mistakes? Whoa, Teach, you're awesome. Not bad. Actually, he's so good, I don't feel like I'm learning anything. The score is climbing rapidly. But could it be? Was this the perfect game I only heard of in rumors? I thought it was just an urban legend, but what if it was possible? What if was possible? I feel like that's a spelling error or writing error. What if was possible? I'm pretty sure I have seen a few throughout this event where they've had some errors, but I just kind of fixed them myself and continued on. But this seems like the most egregious one. Maybe I'm wrong, but this seems like it's pretty bad. Because it was confusing my mind for a second. In a way, that actually might be disappointing. After all, I'm just a backseat driver here, and it'd be an empty accomplishment for me even if the Great Sage pulled it off. You're going too far, I whined subconsciously, but on the surface, I donned a self-confident smile. Well, what do you think? This is what I'm capable of. I see. So he's still taking credit for it, but he's not wanting to admit Great Sage is doing it. He wants the credit, but he does feel bad about getting a perfect score. Saying this made me sad inside, but it couldn't be helped. It's a teacher's duty to put on a front sometimes. Yes, we get that you're good, teacher, but could you teach us the rules now? I noticed this while watching, but it looks like you're supposed to eat the food that comes up on screen, right? Ryuta and Gale were getting impatient, so I decided to explain the rules of the game to them. After all, the Great Sage was the one manning the controls, which meant I had free time on my hands. Just like Gale said, the goal of the game is to help the main character, Pac-Man, eat all the food on the screen. Your score is determined by the amount of food you eat, so the more food you can spawn and eat, the higher your score. Oh, I see. These mysterious dots that some call cookies are worth 10 points. The fruit is worth a lot more, so you can't miss them if you want a high score. There's a trick to making fruit spawn, and you have a 10-second window before they disappear, so it's easy to panic and miss them. Each fruit has a different point value, but I'm sure they'll learn as they play more. Incidentally, I haven't missed any on this run. I didn't have to worry about my hand shaking from anxiety right now, so it's all boiled down to decision making. Throw in the fact that Great Sage was controlling Pac-Man, and that meant frame-perfect decisions, an easy high score. Being the perfectionist that she is, the Great Sage wasn't going to hold back just because this was a game. I don't believe it. This might actually be a perfect score. I couldn't picture myself achieving it. What are those guys who keep trying to stop you? Those are monsters. They get in Pac-Man's way, but each move differently, so you have to be careful of them. I could have sworn they were ghosts, not monsters. I thought it was like Pac-Man and the Ghost or something. Or Pac-Man and Ghostly Adventures. Like, I'm sure I heard that name somewhere. I think that was a TV show on Cartoon Network or something. So that's why I thought those guys were ghosts and not like monsters from all the art I've seen. I continued my run-through of the rules for Ramrus and the kids. Yes. Now it was coming back to me. The red one's called Blinky. He's the leader. Think of him like Benimaru. Wait, no, he's actually more like Shion. So he's just thinking of this in his mind because the kids haven't even been to Tempest yet to know who are these characters that he's trying to mention. So I'm guessing this is just for us, the audience. He's the clingy, annoying type who relentlessly follows Pac-Man around. The blue monster is Inky. Unlike Soy, he's an honest and shy character. His erratic behavior can be hard to deal with. The orange one is called Clyde. He's known for his free-spirit personality. He tends to act impulsively, without much thought, so I couldn't help but compare him to Gabata. Yeah, I like how each one of the other monsters was basically like two of the Tempest people kind of combined, or kind of had the appearance of one Tempest person but acted like completely different from that original Tempest person. While Gabata, he's like, yeah, that's just Gabata. The pink one's known as Pinky. The closest comparison I can think of is Milim. Pinky's the strategic intellectual type, but with the quickness that belies her cute appearance, she makes a habit of cutting you off. I mean, I guess, secretly, Milim is kind of smart. Like, not in the most intellectual sense, but really when it comes to combat and anything like that, where she has to fight and make quick decisions, she is actually really smart. It's only these four as far as the monsters go, but they can be a lot more trouble than you expect if they gang up on you. I felt the nostalgia set in again as I remembered all of this. Hold on a second though, how come Pac-Man's also getting the monsters then? He's not eating them, he's defeating them. Each time Pac-Man eats one of the 4 power cell pellets on the map, the monsters turn blue, the tables turn, and Pac-Man's able to defeat them instead. If I remember correctly, defeating them consecutively gives you added bonus to your score. I'm basically giving them a perfectly executed demo of my explanation right now, but I'm sure it must be impossible to follow for a beginner. It's hard to understand all this unless you're trying it for yourself, not to mention it being no fun. That being the case, I think it's about time. I totally get this game down. Alright, Rimuru, let me have a turn now. Ah! Ah! I was just thinking it was time for me to step aside and let someone else have a turn, but getting impatient, Ramrus had kicked my hand. As a result, the screen showed my Pac-Man getting caught by a monster. There was still tries left, but the perfect game had gone up in smoke. Oh well, it wasn't really me playing, so it didn't bother me. My perfect operation of controls has been Yeah, that's very unfortunate for Great Sage. But hey, she can try again later, at some point, if we ever come back to this game. However, it should be noted that I decided to etch the lament of one particularly frustrated soul into the cockles of my heart. After this sequence, it was decided that I would be excluded from drawing lots to determine turn order. So I don't understand this. I mean, nothing's wrong with him drawing. The only thing that's wrong is if Great Sage were to draw, since she's able to do all the calculations and everything to determine if she or Rimuru is gonna win. I guess he just doesn't want to take that risk? But yeah, that's very weird that he's excluded from deciding. Or maybe he just feels bad because they put a super high score that would be very hard for the kids to surpass. He's like, yeah, I'm not gonna play for a while. So, until you guys get near my score or able to beat it. I mean, nobody else would get a turn if we just let you keep playing, right? That's so true. Nice one, Ramrus. You really know how to drop a gem every once in a while. Yeah, we get that you're good, teacher. Now, we'll be counting on you to watch over us while we give it a shot. Ramrus, Alice, and Kenya all rattled off in agreement. Though they didn't say anything. One look at Ryota and Gale told me they felt the same way. So does that mean Chloe didn't really care if Rimuru kept playing? Or doesn't really even want to play? Chloe was my sole consolation. But I could tell by her forced smile that I wasn't going to be able to count on her to come to my defense. Watching over makes it sound nice, but in short, I'd been left out. Admittedly, they had a point, so I had to accept the decision this time. Frankly, Great Sage had gone overboard. Given her near-perfect play, of course the audience was going to get bored. To be honest, my own skills were hardly anything to brag about, and now it was impossible to come out with the truth. Alright, alright. I want you to play nice then. No fighting. Understood? As the responsible adult of the group, I held it in and gave up my place. I watched the kids play while I served as the electrical power supply. I like how he says, as the responsible adult of the group. So, basically saying, Ramrus not responsible. She may be an adult, but not responsible. Sometime later, Ramrus would relocate to Rimuru, the capital of Tempest, with plans to construct the underground dungeon. However, I'm pretty sure this is some light novel spoilers for the newest season. Currently, Season 3 has just came out, if anyone is watching, so I don't know if this is going to be built in the current season, but I know this is built in the future. So this is kind of a spoiler, but damn, I can hardly believe that this was 2 years ago that they spoiled this, but I just completely forgot about it. I'm not sure about the details, but I heard certain floors of the dungeon were buried in edible cookies and fruit. So I'm not sure what this means. Does this mean she made certain floors in her dungeon like the Pac-Man game? So she put lots of cookies and fruits in them so people can eat? So I don't know if that means she made like monsters also be in there so they chase people. While information on the party responsible is shrouded in mystery, there was no mistake that a game called Pac-Man had a major influence. Damn, I don't know about you guys, but that one story like took forever. Like, you guys probably won't see the exact length I was in there, but that was a long time for that one story part. But yeah, unfortunate because this isn't the original story event. I can't do the combat battles. I think you could battle against all the monsters, like all 4 of the ghosts or whatever they want to call it in Pac-Man. So you could verse against Pinky, Inky, Claude, and what was the last one? Damn, I can't even remember the last monster. But yeah, I can't believe this was the first ever April Fool's event having this collaboration. And this was the first ever collaboration in Slime with another Bandai Namco franchise. Not really a game, per se, since Pac-Man is a lot bigger than just the original Pac-Man these days. So first it was this event, then it was the Slime event where everyone turned into slimes, and now currently it is the Taiku no Tatsujin event, which is like the 3rd ever April Fool's event. Anyway, let's get to the last story. Press start. Hey, let me have a turn already. Ah, one more try. Just give me one more try. Kenya, that's the 3rd time you've asked for one more try. Give it up and let someone else have a turn. Haha, I'm glad you all seem to be having fun. I'm just wondering, like, don't they need coins to work the Pac-Man machine? Now, I know in modern days, they have been able to figure out how to, like, give unlimited tries, but I would imagine this machine originally needed coins. Like if it was on the cruise ship, or if this was stolen out of someone's arcade. Like maybe if it was stolen out of someone's personal arcade, then it was like unlimited tries. Alright, I'll go next then. Watch me clear this with pizzazz this time around. No, no, no. You played too much too, Ramorous. You played even more than Kenya. Hey now, you're a demon lord, aren't you? If anything, you should be letting the kids play your turns, not taking theirs. But then I can see it on the other hand, where she's a demon lord, which deserves absolute respect, and so means these little kids should know their place and give all their turns to the demon lord, and kind of be scared, because they're a feared being? Or like feared status of the demon lords. Come on, don't be such a spoiled sport. I have to give up my turn just because I'm a demon lord? Fine, have it your way. Best player gets to keep playing. I'll start us off. That defeats the purpose of taking turns. Anyhow, please just play nice. Sigh. I used to get into fights over the controller back when I was a kid, didn't I? I never imagined it'd be possible to play games in this world, but it's been a pleasant reminder of how nice it is to have entertainment like this. In my past life, I dream of somehow going into the world of the games I was playing. But now that I think about it, the skills and magic I have at my disposal as a slime now are way better than anything I had in my games. Like the things Rimuru can summon are pretty cool, like the demons, the spirits, and a few of the other things he has under his sleeve. But summoning stuff like Odin, like the Ifrit in Final Fantasy, like that would be a cool world to be in. You can never tell what kind of slimy twists and turns life will throw at you, can you? Oh, that's right. With my current abilities, I might even be able to recreate games. I have completed analysis on the data obtained from using Predator on the machine moments ago. A mimic can be implemented in a body double. Take this action? Is that even a question? Definitely yes. Whoa, awesome! It came out great! I didn't know this is what they were planning to do. I thought they were just gonna recreate video games that Rimuru has played. Yeah, this is very weird. I guess he wanted to create life-sized versions of the characters. Weird the first game you would choose is Pac-Man to create life-sized version of. Huh? Teacher? What's going on? This didn't pop out of the game, did it? I had my body double mimic the game. Guess what? Now you can play Pac-Man in real life. I feel like that's supposed to be a copyright joke. Instead of getting sued for playing Pac-Man, they're playing Pac-Man. We go poof if we get caught? Aw, she believes. That's so cute, but so sad. She believes that if they touch the red guy or any of the monsters, they die. Yeah, I would believe these two would believe that. Oh no, don't worry. Nothing that terrible will happen. I've just always had this dream of being able to play with the characters from a game in real life. So that's what I did here. I could easily make something of this quality myself. But I don't want to let it go to waste. So I'll do you a favor of playing it. It's always a good idea to take breaks when you're playing games. So this is a good opportunity to get some movement in. And then that's when I think the actual battles start. So yeah, this is interesting to see how the April Fool's events have changed. So with this one, it was Rimuru creating the Pac-Man monsters so they can battle them or at least exercise with them. I'm sure in the story they were just running around away from them. And then it goes to the slime event, which is completely different from this event. Like, I think in that one it was just a dream or something happened that transformed everyone into slime for a day. And then with the Taiku no Tatsu event, like that one I feel was foreshadowing. Like this event foreshadowed that one. Where it's like Chloe or Alice, I forget which one said it, said, did that thing appear out of the machine? Which literally happened in the Taiko no Tatsu event. So that is super interesting. Also, I guess Bandai publishes Taiko no Tatsu? I have not seen who is the publisher of Taiko no Tatsu or the developers of that game. But it is interesting. Well, we're almost close to the end. I'm almost caught up on all the events that I never finished originally. So I think there's only like 1 or 2 events that I need to do, which should be easy to knock out pretty soon. But yeah, this was a fun little April Fool's event in the past that I could relive again, since I forgot to post the video. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed Slime Isekai Memories. That time I found Pac-Man in another world. If you guys did, please make sure to follow me on all my social medias, like my Twitter, my Twitch, my YouTube, my DLive, my TikTok, my Kick, Rumble, Odyssey, and Daily Motion. Make sure to check out my second YouTube channel, and like and comment on all my videos, and even join my Discord. There you can stay up to date with everything I choose to, or my streams, videos, or anything else. But yeah, I hope to see you guys next time. Bye!